Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here, Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, hello everybody, counting down to episode 200, welcome to episode 198. Like we said before, the past couple weeks, hit up that voicemail line, 267-991-0156. They've been coming in. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to sit through for our Power Hour in episode 200. I have not vetted anything, so...
I'm laughing because I haven't vetted anything, but I did receive the notifications.
Oh, I've seen the notifications.
And I've seen 11 or 12 voicemails back-to-back by the same number one night. So, So yeah, it's going to be... I'm sure it'll be interesting.
It's going to be quite the day. But yes, also, if you're new to the show, please check us out on iTunes and Spotify as well, or YouTube, wherever you're listening to this. Leave a 5-star review. We'll read any comment and any 5-star review that you leave for us. So definitely check out the links below. All that good bullshit. Bri, how you holding up?
Well, Jim, like any Philly sports fan, or to my surprise, any fan that's not a Chiefs fan, we watched a highway robbery yesterday. And the Eagles, you will get it out real quick. Our D completely fell apart in the second half. Everyone knows that. That's undeniable. The only reason we were in that game was Jalen Hurts. He carried that literally on his back.
Put the team on his back. 417 yards from him alone. Completely unnecessary fumble that led to a touchdown. But yes, 417 yards.
That hurt. We were in a very desperate spot. We had to go for two. We get it. Okay. And then with less than a couple minutes left, Kansas City, they do their drive. They're best team out there for a reason. But on a 3rd and long, the most bullshitty of calls, whether it was justified or not, the fact that they actually called it knowing what it would do, which is rob the Eagles of any potential chance to do a play, is the most fucked up thing. And I actually have such a big respect for Greg Olsen now, who was calling that the whole time. He's like, that is absolutely ridiculous.
I think his what do you call it? Actual line was like, I'm sure the Chiefs fans are pissed at me right now, and I'm sure the Eagles fans are screaming at their TV, but that's insane, basically.
Yeah. And there was another broadcaster who actually cursed about how ridiculous. He's like, on the biggest stage in the world, you do this shit? He's
Michael Barkad dropping the bullshits on local access cable. Comcast, Sportsnet.
Here's the deal. We very well could have still lost. It absolutely, of course, we could have. They still would have got the field goal, shaved some time, but we would have had at least 30, 40 seconds maybe to work with something.
After the field goal, we would have had at least a minute and a half.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if they shaved, whatever they did, we would have had a chance. And that's the shittiest thing, because I have all the faith in the world in our offense and Jalen, but he still could have messed up and we still could have lost. And at least if we would have lost, there'd be no asterisks, no controversy. It took a game that was nail-biting as shit and frustrating as hell for a Philly fan. And now there's always going to be this sour taste, because it's like, well, we don't know what really would have happened if there wasn't that bullshit call. So that's the shittiest part of it.
Yeah, the penalty, it isn't why we lost, but it was the nail in the coffin. That's what it was.
Well, yeah. It's a thing. Yeah.
And it's a thing where it's at that point, they weren't calling that shit all game.
Dude.
And I know Jason Bradbury came out and he was like, yeah, I held him, but that's called being a cornerback. Every single one does that. And it didn't impede the route of the receiver at all. It was still overthrown, too. So it's not like he even had a play on it. So it was
they weren't calling shit, and somebody put together a compilation. One of the other reasons why the team leading sacks in the friggin' NFL didn't get any, they showed 3 times blocking in the back, stopping our friggin' O-line or D-line from getting in there. That was never called.
Well, you know what? The calls and shit like that, it goes both ways, and it always evens out in the end, even though we had that horrific one at the very end. So that's fine. I'd rather less calls than more calls. I don't want the fucking refs to be the ones determining the game.
But my thing is, there comes a point. The calls throughout the game, I think there were a lot of bullshit. Like that random, I've never heard put more time on the clock because they need time to sub. Like,
Yeah, where did this sub rule come from?
Out of nowhere. Fucking out of nowhere. But put that
or when they intentionally like stopped the clock and made them redo it so they could give Andy time to fucking challenge that one reception and shit like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that was such a bullshitty thing where I go, I can put all that aside. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to point to one thing during the game, but you end the game with a call that guy was not getting there anyway. We were not literally stopping him from doing anything. It was a hand on the jersey that was off in a microsecond. And the fact of the matter is, they friggin' knew that call would end any chance we had. And it did. Like we said, yeah, we probably would have lost. You know, we very well still could have lost. So that is not the only reason we lost. I'm not saying that at all. But it's undeniable we got fucked from even getting a chance. And if there's anything I think our team has proven, we're pretty damn good in a pickle with a little bit of a chance. And we couldn't get it because they got to protect our golden boy. And I by the way, Mahomes, talented as shit.
He's the best quarterback in the league. He's currently the best quarterback in the league.
But what a fucking bitch. The way he pointed it out, and he's just whiny. His family sucks. His brother's a corny as shit. His wife is terrible. I don't like him.
Jesus.
And I'm not even the internet guy, and I know about that, Jim. So if you don't know about that stuff.
No, I actually don't know a lot about his family and shit like that.
Oh, okay. So here's the deal. Yeah, he's talented. I'll never take it away. But, man, him pointing is what had the ref call the flag. He pointed, then the ref.
They all do that.
And they got to protect their golden investment. That's all I'm going to say. They protected the shit out of them all season. And they did it again tonight. Or yesterday.
Yeah. He is the golden boy. But, I mean, I think the biggest heartbreak for me is that fat fucking fraud of a fucking head coach, Andy Reid, got a goddamn Super Bowl against us. You know what? He is a Hall of Fame coach. No denying that. He's got all the stats in the world. But that fat fucking fraud has 2 goddamn Super Bowls now. Now, because he outcoached us. He goddamn outcoached us. Our shithead defensive coordinator never changed a goddamn thing, and he let Andy fucking Reid outcoach him. Andy Reid, 1-5 with the Eagles in NFC Championship games. Captain mismanagement and never stepping up in a big game. Fucking ran circles around our defensive coordinator. Unfucking believable. Made him look like a goddamn genius.
I'm not even willing to give it to him. I think Mahomes, Kelsey, and their goddamn O-line were just unbeatable. Like I said,
he never blitzed. How do you?
Well, yeah, I know that was ridiculous. Like, yeah, our defensive call playing was terrible, but our defense in general. And I'm not even going to go down the line that, like, I noticed from the first couple plays, like, why are our guys slipping all the time? And they had to, like,
that
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, our defense, they dropped the ball. Like, they are the reason we lost. Like, our offense was not the issue. Yeah, nope. even with Jalen's fumble, you know what? He made it up the very next time he got the ball. So
he didn't let him shake him. Yep.
So it's one of those deals where I have so much more respect for him. Like, I already love him, but I have such a different level. And yeah, our defense, it sucks because our defense looked like our strongest part of our team leading up to this. And now it's like, well, that happened. So yeah, so like any Phillies fan, it's funny. There's not a single person that isn't a Chiefs fan that doesn't think that was complete horseshit.
Yeah, I mean, like, for the most part, like, the second it happened, the entire timeline, I saw so many tweets that were like, I hate Philadelphia, but that was bullshit.
Yeah,
so it's like,
no, they're like, we still hate you guys, but yeah. that was pretty bad.
And yeah, they laughed at us after and everything like that, which, you know, sport's fine.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Yeah, even at that, but it's just like, God damn it.
And I love, like, how corny people are, like, before that, like, whether Philly wins or loses against Burnout City, it's like, no, we're not those assholes. We don't riot and do that shit.
Yeah, there was like a couple hundred people there were a couple hundred people who were going to be leaving Center City bars anyway, and but nothing got destroyed. It wasn't like when fucking Toronto or Vancouver, whoever was, lost in the Stanley Cup and they burnt their city down. So
yeah,
it wasn't like that.
Yeah, and there's been other sports towns, I think somewhere in Texas back in the day, like, did the same thing. Like, no, you know what? It's like, it's so corny at this point, the stigma of the Philly sports fan, where I'm like, you got to get over it. Like, just get over it. We're not the same. We're just actually caring about our sports team, unlike most cities.
So, yep.
Yeah,
Old
it just
sports
sucks.
talk, Jimmy. Fuck. God, I'm so fucking bitter about Andy Reid. God, I fucking hate Andy Reid. Oh, God. You know, fuck Jeffrey Lurie, too, for fucking 10 years letting him be the GM, too, drafting us into the goddamn pits. Look what happens when you have a real GM with Andy, and look what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
Gives him actual talent that he can work with.
It sucks, Jim. It really sucks. All in all, like the Super Bowl, it was
3 lost championships within 4 months.
But this is the one that matters the most, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, the Union fucking, like, I obviously don't care about soccer, but I was watching that game at a party that I was at, and, like, I didn't even know you could be down a man in soccer, but, like, we were up a man with, like, a minute and a half left in extra time. All we had to do was just keep kicking it away, and they couldn't hold out, and they lost it in the fucking kicks. And then the Phillies weren't the better team, so that was fine. That was a magical run, but that was fine. But I think, like, that heartbreak, like, kind of prepped me for this, where I'm just like, yeah, okay, of course. It's back to typical Philly fandom.
Yep, it sucks. It's and there's
we're not Detroit. At least we get there. At least we have winning seasons. But we're the ultimate blue ball. We're the ultimate blue ball city. We're good enough to get there a lot, but we never fucking win.
I also found it odd, like they knew Mahomes was the MVP before the game even started.
Well, yeah, they already called it for the season.
But like it's like when they showed the stats were identical and all this other shit. It's like I don't know. Like I said, I just have a bad taste in my mouth now because of his little bitch play. So like I said, I can't like him. He's not going to be Tom Terrific anytime.
They're going to be pushing for it. That's what they want. So
that's what they want. He won't do it.
I don't know.
But here's the deal.
He's young as shit and he's talented as hell. Like, he is the best quarterback in the league right now.
Let me ask you this, though. So, the game itself, obviously, because I have full bias, I'm going to say it was one of the better games just because of how nail-biting it was back and forth.
No, it was a great game, but it's the worst Super Bowl of all time because fat fuck Andy Reid kept the Eagles out of a goddamn another Super Bowl win. That motherfucker. Yeah. I will never not be bitter about that.
But, yeah, so... if you have any Phillies sports fans that are friends, send them some beer or a hoagie. They need it this week. That's all I'm going to say. But, Jim, let me ask you this. See, it's funny at this point. I know, like, most of the nation watches it for reasons other than the actual game. I found maybe one commercial kind of funny. And I want you to guess which one I think I found funny. I will say it was
the Blue Moon one?
No, that one wasn't bad. I actually was like, okay, I like the twist there.
Bring it back to the topic of the podcast. That was a good commercial.
That was good. I was a little, even though Blue Moon is made by.
That's on the Coors.
Yeah. So is it Coors? Oh, it is Coors. That's right.
Yeah, but I mean, they're both under the umbrella of Miller Coors. It's not like they're really different companies.
That's what I mean.
Either.
So yeah.
For those who don't know.
Which is why it made sense. I was like, oh yeah, they can do that because it's all under the same brand.
What did you like, the Tubi one?
The Tubi was good because I loved how many people were like actually thought their TVs were messed up.
Yep.
The one that was it got a laugh out of me just because they really went for the joke was that Dodge Ram EV, where they were making it like an erectile dysfunction thing, but they were
I missed that one. I didn't see that.
Oh, so that it like they really went like they're like, are you scared of getting an electric car because you think you can't keep it up for long enough or you can't go the distance or something? And they really like leaned into it. And at first I was like, this is kind of corny, but they like didn't stop. Like I like when you really lean into a joke, even if it's kind of corny. And I was just like, all right, this one made me kind of laugh.
All right, I'll have to check that one out.
Everything else was meh, but there was one commercial, Jim, I did want to ask you about. Seeing as you are... I mean, I guess you're probably not as much anymore, but a DC fanboy, seeing the Flash commercial.
It looks good.
So, well, let me ask you this. Not being the internet guy, I know Ezra Miller is a terrible person, but I don't know what he did. Like, I know everyone hates him. He kind of,
like, abducted a teenage girl or something. I don't know all the things. I'm not one of the... yeah, kind of like that.
Okay, and they're still releasing a movie with him.
Yeah, that's been a long-going controversy around Ezra Miller. They're like, they're still doing this. They're still releasing it. This is still going. Why are they doing this?
So they cut people from movies for, like, tweeting something. and canceled movies based on tweets or likes or shit. But
Well, I mean, they didn't cancel Shazam 2, but that really cut into the fucking promotion.
Oh, I wasn't even talking about that. I'm talking like Gina Carano. She got cut from Marvel movies because like stuff she tweeted, right? I don't even know if she tweeted, but
she went real hard in the paint with her.
But I'm saying, I don't care what you say, doesn't compare to if you kidnapped a teenage girl. There's levels to this game, Jim, and when you go to kidnapping a teenage girl, that's too far. That's way too far.
Yeah. So I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I remember someone being abducted or something like that.
As I said, I just knew. I've heard terrible guy. Never looked into it. Didn't care because I was like, I don't really like most DC things. But seeing the commercial, aside from, of course, I nerded out seeing Michael Keaton, which is clearly the selling point of the movie.
Yeah.
But goddamn, and I know in the comics, Flash, is Flash the reason there is multiverses, or one of the big pieces of it? In
he can be, depending on the story. Yeah, there's there's different Flashes across all the multiverse. Well, I mean, DC's mainline timeline is so fucked up right now; it's impossible to keep track of. But
because I always knew him and Green Lantern, I always knew they had so many different versions of each other.
Yeah,
or whatever. But god damn it, man, if it doesn't seem like the timing of. Well, Spider-Man just had a movie and brought back old actors, and that went over really well. It's like every time Marvel does something, DC goes, how can we bastardize it and just try and cash in as quickly as we can? And instead of establishing Flash in his own movie in any way, let's just jump right to the multiverse piece of it and get Michael Keaton in here.
Yeah, I mean, this might... For all the rumors, this might be the last of the current DC cinematic universe.
Is it still considered Snyder? Is he doing it?
I mean, Snyder didn't do all of them. I don't even know. I think James Gunn's doing The Flash, if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't know.
I think he is. I might be wrong. I don't keep up with it as much. But, yeah, I mean, this was supposed to be one of the... I mean, this was supposed to be a launching point, but because it's been such a disaster, they're, thinking about just scrapping it and redoing it all again. So,
god damn it, dude! How many Batman Jokers things are we gonna fucking
WB? Get it away from WB for fuck's sake!
I don't think they can, unfortunately. I mean,
they can't.
Now, strictly because of Michael Keaton, seeing the Batmobile, all that.
Right, he said a Batman.
He did. He sure did. And Jim, I mean, aren't they afraid how much he's gonna outshine Ben Affleck?
I don't think they're that worried about it. I think they're just going to cash their check and
just cash it.
Now,
let me ask you, Jim. The thing that worries me, we're a little bit older. We have fond memories.
Oh, Bri. Speaking of older, Bri, sorry to cut you off real quick. This was the first time watching the Super Bowl that they announced a Hall of Fame class, and I was like, shit. I remember watching 80% of these guys play. I was like, I am officially even older than I thought I was.
We're old, Jim. There's no doubt about it, but. Is the sad thing going to be when people watch this movie, most of the generation that's going to watch it are going to say, that's the Vulture from the Spider-Man movies.
Or Morbius.
He
talk
is
about his Morbius appearance, Brian.
He is in that too, but it's going to break my heart. They're going to be like, why is this old guy playing Batman? And they'll look it up and whatever, but they don't know. They don't appreciate.
We old, Bri. We old.
But no, I saw that.
Wait, why is Mr. Mom in this movie? Maybe that's what they'll say.
Yeah, that's exactly what they'll say. Beetlejuice. Actually, I think he is. I think they are making Beetlejuice too. So
are they? Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, of course. Why wait 35 years or whatever it's been? For something that I don't think anyone's really asking for. Even though I love the movie, I love him in it. Don't do it. But they're gonna do it.
Well, Bri, who's asking for Indiana Jones 5 with 200-year-old Harrison Ford? So
I saw that and I went, I thought the Fast and the Furious shit was ridiculous enough, but seeing Indiana Jones, whatever, I'm like, come on, man, just stop. But he just won't. He won't, Jim, will he?
I mean, you throw me that much money, fuck it. He doesn't give a shit. He's cashing checks.
I wonder if those last couple actually did any real bank.
I mean, I think they did.
I didn't see them. I just,
I didn't see him either, but I don't care enough.
No, but overall, Super Bowl, Jim, how much did you love the performance?
I only saw a little bit of it because that was when I was putting my kid to bed. So it was my turn. We switch off. So
yeah.
I took the turn, and, what I saw, I was like, it's fine, I guess. I'm not a Rihanna fan anyway, so I don't dislike her. I don't like her. She's just, she's there.
But Jim, she was inspired by Super Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers, so many Smash Brothers games.
But Jim, somebody had to put some Photoshop to it real quick and think they're so original.
I mean, the first one that did it was original as shit, and then we instantly saw 10 billion copycats.
Here's the problem. Anymore, you can never validate who's the original.
Oh, no. No, it's impossible.
Yeah, all in all, though, heartbreaking Super Bowl. One that for Philly fans will live in infamy. So, yeah. Just be nice to your Philly fans.
They won't, but it's fine.
I know. But, Chambers, what are you drinking right now to get over it? And it better not be leftover Coors Light.
No, Brian, it is not leftover Coors Light. It was actually a beer that I was going to wait to pop open when they won. So, little story time with Jimmy. Sports talk Jimmy's done. Now it's beer story time with Jimmy. So, as we know, my favorite band is Rush. And back in 2021, they actually released a beer. Shut the fuck up. And what's the brewery? Oh, yeah, Fulton Brewing out of Minneapolis. So they collaborated with them, the remaining members, to release a beer. And it was only available in Canada. And I was like, how the fuck do I get this? How do I get this beer? It was like impossible. Eventually, like, one random beer distributor in Long Island had it, but I wasn't going up to Long Island to get it. So, thanks to local radio station President Steve, they're like, oh, this random distributor in 2 locations in Eastern PA is getting it. So I was like, I'm going to go fucking get this beer. So I went up there before opening. I was actually expecting the craft beer nerds at the very least to more show up for it, but yeah, there's like 15 of us out there as the door opened. And it's, yeah. So I went and got me the Rush beer. It is the Golden Ale, 5.5% alcohol by volume. And actually, like, when we got there, where they had like a whole shitload like lined up on like this one thing. And we're like, he's like, wait, you guys want cases? We're all like, yeah, we want goddamn cases. Like, we're grabbing singles and gonna grab a case. So they bring it out, and it's really just like a plain cardboard box. There's like no artwork on it all or anything like that. I was like,
leave it to the Canadians.
Yep, exactly. But, yep, got me my Rush beer.
So what kind of beer is it?
Golden Ale.
What percentage?
5.5.
Okay.
And you know what? It's got, for, just a Golden Ale, it's got a shitload of flavor in the mouthfeel. Like, I mean, not even so much mouthfeel, but like it's really sitting. It's way maltier than I was expecting. I was just expecting kind of like an easier drinker, but this one's like, it's actually kind of surprisingly heavy.
Interesting.
Leaves a little bit of lacing. Doesn't give you a lot of head. Like anymore, I've learned the art, of course, of just like you have to just pour it in and let the head dissipate to get the flavor really, the effervescence, get it all mixed up and out there, the aromatics, but. Yeah, so there wasn't even that much head as it was coming out.
You mean, Jim, like the slow pour like I've always done that you hate?
Correct.
Yeah. You son of a bitch. I just don't want the head. Yeah.
That was all me for a while, but now I'm Johnny. Now I'm Johnny Puritan. So
slow pour it to death. Now, how much was a case of that?
60. Yep.
Oh. Ooh, no.
Oh,
I hope you're saving some as collectors.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a couple to my, Rush buddies here and there. I'm gonna bring some over so you can try one. But yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be saving a bunch from, posterity.
Damn, 60. Well,
I mean, it's an import. It's extremely limited. It is what it is.
Listen, I give you shit about Rush, but you know what? I'm happy for you. That's cool. They released it and that you were able to get a hold of it. Because that would have sucked. It sucks that you can't just PA with our goofy ass importing beer laws and this and that. Like, we're good about in-state, but still out-of-state shit. We can't just order direct.
Yeah.
Hopefully they fix that shit.
Well, that wasn't even a thing of PA. That was just a thing of them not having it available for shipping and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I bought a mix pack of the Yards. It's their power pack, so it's all like video game themed beers, naturally. So I'm trying out the Dr. Nocturnal Midnight IPA, and I don't get the Dr. Nocturnal part because it kind of reminds me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where it's like Bebop and Rocksteady, except it's a possum and a raccoon.
Yeah, and maybe like a Baxter Stockman is the owl.
That's what I'm thinking. So The other ones are a little more obvious, like the ones like a Mega Man ripoff right away, and the other one I think is Galaga or something. But yeah, this one kind of threw me for a loop. It's 6.66%. But it's a Midnight IPA, which just translates to Black IPA, which this is one of the weirder goddamn styles because it tastes absolutely nothing like an IPA. It tastes like a black lager, but it's like very malty, almost a little bit of a coffee flavor. So it's like nothing you think of. There's no bitterness, no hoppiness. So how it's an IPA, I don't know. It's a style that I always go, why? But yeah, it's fine. I had 2 of the other beers yesterday while watching the Super Bowl, so I wanted to mix it up with this one. And I think there's one more I didn't try, but like I said, it's not. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like a weird one where you go, yeah, I'd never order this, but it's like, okay, I can mark it off again. I had another black IPA, so they were a craze for like a little while in 2014, and then very rarely do people do it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever come across one.
Yeah, it's a weird, like I said, it's like a white stout. It's a weird style. It's like, why do it? But people do it.
You know what? At least they're doing something different.
Yeah, trying to be unique. Chambers. I want to get into what we've been playing. And before I ask you what you've been playing, I have a question.
Go on.
Do you have any intention of actually playing The Last of Us?
I do eventually want to play The Last of Us, so don't play.
Okay.
Ruin the story. I
okay,
do want to play it eventually.
No spoilers. Only thing I will say is, so I just finished it today, like literally a couple hours ago. I didn't think I was going to finish it, and here I did finish it. I absolutely love the game. I would put it up there as like it's definitely going to be in my top 20. Let's put it that way.
All right.
I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and it's one that right from the get-go I was like, okay, it's good, but it's whatever. The same way I felt about the what's the rat game I told you to play?
A Plague Tale?
Yeah, the story is one that it's worth getting into, and I will say call it the fake father-daughter relationship that goes on, and having a daughter herself, like, it gets you more in the feels. You're like, okay.
Ah, Jesus.
You get me, you sons of bitches.
That'll get me too.
Exactly. So that's why I was like, I really think you should give it a try. Now, what's interesting is there's a lot of camera. It has a look and feel that kind of reminds me of the game you hate, Uncharted.
Yeah.
But
it's by the same people.
Yeah, so they clearly, like, this must be the version of Uncharted, like maybe Uncharted 2, like you mentioned, or 3, where
it got
they
improved.
perfected shooting and shit. But that same kind of style, even the running and cover in some areas. But like I said, it just is so strong in the story department where I'm like, God damn, they really did deliver on this game. So, yeah, I just finished that, and as I said, I highly, highly recommend you do that.
Yeah, I've got the HD remaster.
That's what I did.
Yeah, sitting on my PS5 right now, so I want to get to that eventually.
Yeah, but yeah, other than that, I did download the game that, thank you, Zwick, I want to say. He let us substitute
Sweet,
in a game.
accommodating Zwick. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, the other game he wants to play, like you said, it was going to be a bit of a hardship to properly play it. But I downloaded Fury. I didn't play it yet, but I did buy it and download it. So.
Yeah, I got to get it. I got to download that too and get some playtime in with it.
Now, what about you? What you been playing this past week?
I didn't have a lot of time at all to do any gaming, so the one night I sat down and I was playing a lot of Mega Man 2. So I think I'm doing, just to start practicing it, I did it on the Legacy Collection on Xbox. So I can do save states and go back to it later. So I have like one robot boss left before Wily, so I'm getting there.
Okay. What are you thinking so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely approachable. It's not really, overly frustrating me. I mean, the worst was, what was it? Quickmans with those fucking flames coming in from the sides. And just getting that timing down. So thank God for save states for that, because that took a lot of goddamn tries.
Once you figure out that pattern, it's like, it's still a pain in the ass, but yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah, you can still easily fuck it up, but once you know it, you have to just know it. But yeah, outside of that, man, it's great. It's loved for a reason.
Nice. Yeah, speaking of Mega Man, so once again, we're filming this on Monday, the 13th. So tomorrow will be the last in the Mega Man series. Mega Man 11 is coming out, the video for the top 6 songs from that. As I said, I will do a compilation of all the Mega Mans and like putting it all together on an actual video if you want to watch it that way. And then I'll start dipping my toes into Legend of Zelda. As I said, that first video, guys,
Right.
there
You have
is
so much to
only
choose
6
from.
songs.
How you gonna cut it down?
I mean, technically, I discovered there are 12 songs officially, but they also include just getting a weapon, end game, the shit like that. So it's kind of like, yeah, I got 6 real songs. So
I would love to see what gets cut for do 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 do.
So yeah,
Do it.
that'll be coming next. But Jim, I did want to, right before we hit the Patreon questions, my wife did get me a little game, and it's very similar to what you, me, my wife, and your wife played. A little trivia, but she got me this. It's video game trivia. It's like a little portable card game with
okay.
all types of trivia. I'm just going to ask from 2 cards, and if you get it wrong, you just have to drink.
Okay.
That's all. Debuting on the Amiga in 1992 as a rival to Sonic the Hedgehog, which character was the ninja of the nth dimension?
What was that, Zool?
Yep, good job. All right, you son of a bitch. Next question. What was the profession of protagonist Gordon Freeman in the 1998 PC game Half-Life?
Scientist.
Yep, son of a bitch. All right. Published by Square Enix, which 2018 role-playing video game features 8 playable protagonists?
Oh, fuck me. What is that, Until Dawn?
Nope. Octopath Traveler.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, drinky time.
And then the last one, very apropos for what we just talked about. What is the name of the fantasy world in which the Legend of Zelda series is primarily set?
I roll.
There you go. Son of a bitch. Some of these, I looked through, I was like, I'm just going to read them to you each week just to see how you do. There's a lot of very easy ones. I feel like, especially for us.
Yeah, probably. It's probably made for the more general public, but
Yeah. Good work, you son of a bitch. And if you're listening at home, play along. If you got it wrong, drink something. Unless you're underage, and don't do that.
yeah, exactly. Or just don't tell anyone after.
Damn it, Jim. We're supposed to be responsible.
Right. I am no role model.
Well, Jim, speaking of being responsible, what questions we got from our awesome patrons this week?
Oh, and actually, Brian, speaking of being responsible, whatever fucking painkillers they gave Patrick Mahomes at halftime, I want some of that.
Yeah. Well, did you see the talk of him having PEDs, Jim?
I mean, wouldn't shock me. If you
saying.
ain't cheating, you ain't trying, Bri.
Damn it.
But first, okay, so first up, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question we will answer on every single episode of this Power Hour podcast. So first up is actually from last week from JD Maines. So all this Adam Sessler nonsense reminds me of the old Resident Evil 5 review on X-Play. Do you find it any way unnecessary to laying waste to crowds of black zombies? I know they're in Africa and they're zombies, but the optics of me just wasting black humanoids at the least felt a little uncomfortable at times.
I feel like Sessler would be the type of guy to say that. And I feel like the type of guy that'd say that probably has deeper issues that it's trying to be like the same way guys overcompensate and go the other way. So
right,
take that as you will. I when that controversy came out, it was kind of like they're zombies, and it just happens to take place in Africa because that's where the virus, the progenitor, and all that, and the flower, I forget the name of it. That's where it's from. So it's like it'd be different if it was the first game of a series coming out of time. It was the 5th, and not even the 5th game. It was just the 5th in the main line after already 13 games or whatever it was. So it's kind of like, no, stop. You're trying to you're trying to virtue signal, and whenever someone tries a virtue signal, I think they have more skeletons in their closet than anyone else.
Right, if anything, it's racist to not shoot the black zombies.
That's right, Jim. Come on. Son of a bitch.
Next up.
I don't know, Jim. You seem to be a Sessler defender, so, what was your What's your
I
take?
don't know what the hell Sessler said about it. I remember the controversy at the time because
Wait,
it was all over
I
gaming.
thought JD was reading that because that was Sessler's.
No, he said just how like Sessler was talking reminded him of the controversy.
Oh. Yeah, because I thought he said X-Play, and it was...
I mean, maybe they talked about it on X-Play. So, I mean, it could have very well been something that he did. So, I would
I'm
not
just
be
saying
shocked that he said that.
Sounds very Sessler-esque.
Yeah, no, I would not be shocked at all if he said that.
Yeah.
So, next up, from good old TJ the Kite Man. What quote-unquote bad game should everyone play?
You know what? I'm going to say Shaq Fu. Just because for how long people said, like, that's the worst game ever. It really isn't. It's not a good game. But it's kind of like when people label certain movies the worst movie ever. It's like, just watch it for yourself, play it for yourself, and see. It's not a good game by any means, but it is nowhere near the worst. Just so people can stop, you know, being so hyperbolic about it and acting like it really is that bad. Because it really wasn't. It wasn't even the worst fighter we played.
Yeah, at all. It was no time killers or or slaughter sport or fucking so many
Hit
others.
Fighter on the Super NES. That's the
Pit
worst
Fighter on the Super NES, or even just as like Power Instinct, like something that was just painfully boring.
Yeah.
I think painfully boring is even worse than even the really bad ones.
What about you? What's a bad game everyone's got to play?
Should I count it? Because I don't even think it's that bad of a game, even though it's just ridiculously overly hard. It's Silver Surfer on NES. I think it has a bad rap because of the AVGN, but
Yeah, I don't know if anyone thinks it's bad as versus just really hard.
yeah, because I mean it's got a god tier soundtrack, and yeah, it's just it's ridiculously hard and it's really cheap and unfair.
Yeah.
But fuck. What other like quote unquote bad game? Oh shit. I mean, we've talked about Evolve. Like people said that was a bad game. That was for like everything about Evolve, but the actual gameplay itself.
Like I try thinking about what's that one motorcycle game that's supposed to be like one of the worst games?
Oh, no, I'm thinking of BMXXX. I've never touched that one.
I think you know what I mean.
Oh, Ride to Hell Retribution. I think you even
Something like
brought
that.
that up. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never played that, but that's like somewhere I go. In my mind, whenever someone says something's so great or so bad, I always then want to try it for myself. Be like, is it really? And 9 times out of 10, it's not. Seeing footage of that game, it looks pretty bad, but I feel like that could be a one, like, just try it out if you think it's going to be that bad.
Yeah, I would like to actually try that out one day, because something like that notoriously bad is always interesting to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they could play a really bad game. Be like Breath of the Wild. I don't know.
God damn it.
Coming in hot. I'm still mad about the Eagles.
You're burning the world with you.
That's right.
Next up, from Todd Howard Sucks. You can only choose one, and they get completely removed from the market, including all the small or large breweries that they own. Do you choose Anheuser-Busch or Molson Coors?
So I looked this up, and I have the list of all of it in front of me.
Okay.
So Anheuser-Busch, the primary ones that are of importance, I think, to you and me would be Budweiser, Bud Light, Kona, Michelob Ultra, Stella, Busch, Natural Light, Landshark, Hoegaarden, Shock Top. But then they also have a lot of craft beer partners. So they have Appalachian Mountain Brewing. They have Breckenridge Brewery, Devil's Backbone, Elysian, Four Peaks, Goose Island, Red Hook. So they got some legit, like, actual good craft breweries. But the one I know you're going to say has to stay. So Molson Coors has a million worldwide things. Like, they have so many more, but they also have Blue Moon, obviously your Keystone, Coors, every version of Coors, every version of Miller's. They have Killian's Irish Red. What else do they have? That's Leinenkugel. Like I said, all the Millers and Molson's. Old English.
Oh, Oldie.
Yeah, Pilsner Urquell, which I did not know that was under them, because that was like the original Pilsner in Czech, so I guess they bought them. Red's Apple Ale, Jim. And a lot of the Mexican, like Sol Cervezas. They had a few others. Have a lot of Asian ones. Steel Reserve.
Oh, God.
They might need to go just because of having that.
I
don't
think
know.
Steel Reserve to this day might be, besides that like Bacardi Limon fucking next day that I had, I think my Steel Reserve hangover is probably the worst beer-related hangover I ever had. Even though it's a malt, but yeah.
So here's the deal. I know the real answer is you probably got to keep Molson Coors just because at least then you do technically have a choice between Miller and Coors, whereas if you just keep Bud, Anheuser-Busch, you're keeping Bud. But I hate that Anheuser-Busch has so many good, legit craft brewers under their umbrella. And, like, I do like the Goose Island. I like Elysian. I like Devil's Backbone. I don't know, Jim. I know you're keeping.
Actually, my gut reaction, even though I'm Johnny Keystone, is AB InBev is like they're like the number one enemy of the craft beer scene. So part of me thinks like, because like they're like all these other like gaming companies that try to just keep buying each other up and shit like that. So they buy up everyone that like the craft beer people seem to love, and then they're like heartbroken that it's under the AB InBev umbrella. So part of me was like, shit, if like the craft beer snobs were that mad about them, they must have like all the good stuff and robbed all the best shit. So even though I like a lot, like I obviously love a lot of, Coors and like all their macros and their cheaper macros and stuff like that, part of me thinks quality wise I might have to just go Anheuser-Busch just because they've broken so many hearts. Got to play the heel, Brian.
Interesting. All right, just to piss off the crafties. Interesting.
Not just to piss them off, but if they're this heartbroken, it means they must have done something right.
No, they do have some good ones. I think I would like the beers, even though I can't remember. I have to go back on our blind taste test to see which we chose. I guess then our light beer would be Bud Lights. I mean, unless you decide to become a natural light man, Jim.
Oof, jeez. Yeah, I mean, I never go out of my way for fucking Bud Light, but...
Or Busch.
Well, oh, good. I could be a TikToker and talk about Busch Latte.
There you go, Jim.
Wonderful.
That's a great... I really, really like that. Oh, but Jim, for you, I thought the thing that would also seal it is the Killian's Irish Red.
What have I ever talked about Killian's Irish Red?
What's the Irish beer you like then?
Smittix.
I always get those two mixed up. Yeah, never mind then. Yeah, I did not. I mean, I knew they had a lot, but goddamn, I did not realize how many. So, great question. I like that.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was a noodle scratcher.
Yeah.
And last up from Michael Soto. I hope I get this in before you record. Just got home from surgery. Well, hope for a good speedy recovery.
All right, bud.
Yep. Anyway, have you ever seen the 1994 Fantastic Four movie that never actually released? There's a documentary about it called Doomed. If not, I just found an AI-enhanced version on Blu-ray that comes with the documentary on eBay and thought it was a fantastic purchase. Not the best movie, but for how low budget it was, it felt like it would have made for a good TV show pilot for the time. No, I've always heard about it, and it does look like a disaster, but I've never tracked it down to watch it.
Yeah, so I looked it up when I saw the question. I have not seen Doom. I do want to watch a Doom. I love a good doc. That's another thing about getting old. I feel like you start liking documentaries.
History and documentaries is all it's about.
So I will probably watch the documentary. I remember always seeing the photos from it and how terrible the costumes looked. I mean,
especially the Thing.
Yeah, like late 80s, early 90s, like The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren, that Captain America movie
Brian,
or show.
That's The Punisher with David Hasselhoff. Oh, no, that's Nick Fury with David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, don't you dare, Jim.
Oh, shit, that's right. Oh, my bad. Almost made a whoopsie.
But, like, these costumes are awful. And yeah, I could see this being a very bad show. The fact that they made this a movie is fascinating. And I, like, saw the one picture of, like, Mr. Fantastic punching somebody and the arm going out. It just... There is a cheese to it where it's like, if this was just on a random, like, sci-fi movie, like, it'd be fine. But I don't know how Marvel allowed some of these things to be made back then. So I would like to track it down because I'm a sucker for watching terrible things. And maybe, Jim, we might need to make this a movie we have to review.
I mean, I think so. Might have to do it.
But also, if we're being real, is the Fantastic Four probably the worst product to try to convert to a movie from Marvel?
It's the one that's been the least successful. That's for goddamn sure.
And
it's a shame because, like, in the comics, like they're like one of the first big ones for Marvel too. Like,
which
they're so historic and important.
you know what's funny is I always found, like, I think Doctor Doom is one of the best villains.
By far.
I find, though, as a team, like, I don't give two shits about Fantastic. Like, because they're so intertwined with so many other things and they become bigger, I've never given two shits about them. So it's like, yeah, and as a movie adaptation, I feel like there's no good way to do it.
Even the TV shows are off. Like, that cartoon from the mid-90s. I mean, a lot of Marvel cartoons from that era were pretty bad. But, like, I actually watched a shitload of the one from the 60s on Cartoon Network back when it was just all Hanna-Barbera reruns. I watched the hell out of that. Like, I think I'm the only person who's like, oh, the Claw's here. Cool.
Damn it, Jim. You would. See, you always got to go for that really obscure, you son of a bitch.
Right, he was in, like, every other episode of that TV show. It's my childhood. The
But
Thing
yeah.
would pick up Galactus by his leg and throw him.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah. Stop trying to make Fantastic Four movies. I'm actually waiting with this current really bad, like, this phase of Marvel is just dog shit left and right. And I'm sure, actually I know they're going to do a Fantastic Four, so we'll see what they do. The problem is the Thing, to be honest. He is, like, do you either go full CGI and it'll look really bad, or do you go prosthetic? But you need to get someone who does it really, really well.
I don't think the Michael Chiklis thing looked bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was the best, and even at its best, wasn't great, but it was, like, the best you can do. Problem is, that's such a goddamn weird... That's like if they ever really try to do Clayface.
Yeah,
You're going to
that'd be
have
rough.
huge problems, or, like, kind of how they handled Sandman was okay. Like, just keep him human most of the time, make the big fights, make them huge, but, like, yeah, these characters are these weird shapes. It's tough to do, man. I just want to see a good Doom in Marvel Universe. That's all.
Yeah.
So, no, we will see it, and hopefully, like I said, your surgery went okay, and you're doing better, bud.
Yep. And that will wrap up the questions for this week. So once again, thank you to all the patrons out there. The plan, we're recording this on the 13th, so on this Thursday, we'll finally be recording another bonus episode.
Yep.
So Nick will be joining us, and yeah, should be able to expect that in a week or two.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Truly appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, Chambers. So, ironically, after being asked the questions about these crazy big macro brewers, you have a quote here from August 5th, 1904, from the Topeka Daily Capital. What does it read?
Yeah, it's from this cool little Twitter account called Yesterday's Print. So, it's very simple. I wish I were as clever as other men, but I can't, to save my life, tell the difference between Pabst and Budweiser.
So even back then, it's...
Right, we've been talking a lot of beer history lately, but it's just so funny to see that almost 120 years ago, people are still talking about Pabst and Budweiser.
wasn't that much different. Now,
Yep.
Jim, I'm going to give you a little quiz here. How old do you think Pabst Blue Ribbon is?
I'm going to say Pabst started in 1860s.
1844.
Shit.
So not far off. Started by Gottlieb and Frederica Pabst and their 12-year-old son Frederick, who arrived in the U.S. in 1848. But then it's weird because they say it was established in 1844. But basically, like, yeah, they moved to the States.
So it was in their garage in 1844.
Basically, yeah. But then Budweiser, do you know how old that is?
1820.
1876.
Bitch!
Younger than Pabst.
No shit.
And do you know what the name Budweiser is?
No.
It's a German derivative adjective meaning of Budweis. So it was brewed in Budweis, Bohemia, and it was founded in 1265. And in 1876, Adolphus Busch and his friend Carl Conrad developed a Bohemian-style lager in the United States after an inspired trip to Bohemia, and they produced it in their brewery in St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, I'll be goddamned.
So now you know a little bit. Now you all know a little bit. So, yeah, Budweiser's actually younger than Pabst. Very interesting.
No shit. That's crazy.
And that's the thing, is in all reality, a lot of these macro beers. Now, back then, I bet the flavor was really good. like like they were using the freshest shit. They weren't using rice and all the corn and all bullshit. But yeah, the styles probably would have been extremely similar because, as you know, especially pulling these European from German and Czech Republic, they had very strict laws as to what you could put in. So they were probably using basically the same exact barley, same malts, same processes, using even probably the same materials. Actually, where's Pabst out of? Lake Michigan, I think, or Chicago? I forget. It's one of those. But yeah, so Chicago, it's saying.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, yeah, it's one of those deals where those styles, man, they are very similar. But you know what I want us to do again, Jim? I think we need to rehash.
Blind taste?
Do a blind taste. And you know what? I want us to do it with all the macros. I want us to get as many cheap macros as possible, as feasible. I really want to throw it down and see, like, what holds, what's bad, what's good. And let's surprise each other. Like, what actually taste it? We should do that.
Let's go to Acme and get some singles.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we should do there. Get as many places where that will do singles, and we should do that with different styles. We should do it with IPAs, with stouts. Do it with all of them. The one actually, and somebody tweeted at you, and I agree. The amount of non-alcoholic beers is pretty crazy. We should do a non-alcoholic beer taste test.
Every time I've been to a beer distributor lately,
there's a lot.
There's a lot of them now, and I'm kind of like, I'm interested to try it. I want to see how it tastes, or what the big difference would be.
So that's what we should start bringing back, doing some blind taste testing.
I'm down. It's not just O'Doul's anymore. Everyone's hopping on it. It's almost like the new fucking seltzer. How everyone hopped on seltzers. Now the non-alcoholics are the new hot thing.
Exactly, because everyone's got to get sober, Jim. Well, I don't want to have a terrible disease where I'm addicted to alcohol. Well,
I don't want a gray liver and wet brain. Well,
yeah, I want to feel.
I don't want my family to fall apart around me. Well,
I want to feel good when I wake up. Selfish bastards.
Well, I want to be safe driving. Well,
damn it, it's true. But yeah, no, we definitely have to do that because, like I said, doing it blind. Man, there is a difference. Except we did realize, and I still can't remember, I think Bud Light or Miller Lite had the much sweeter flavor than Coors and the other one. Where I
think Bud stood out more.
Yeah, and it was like the other two, you were like, it's a coin toss. They could have been the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like that quote, and I like that. So you know what? Yesterday's print, you got a follower, and I know you need that from someone as small as me. So there you go.
There you go. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Now comb your hair. All right. Now, Jim, you know what? I actually know we have a decent amount of people who listen to us from the UK and who enjoy us. But UK, can you get your shit together on your regulators? And I ain't talking... I ain't talking Nate Dogg. I'm talking about the a-holes.
Mount up.
There you go. Who've been in battles with Microsoft's Activision, Blizzard acquisition, and their latest suggestion, just remove Call of Duty from the acquisition. Why the fuck would you spend $69 billion and remove the biggest asset from it?
Remove the reason why they're going for it.
That's the number. Yeah, it's like it's bad enough that Microsoft already had a statement out there about their commitment to keep Call of Duty on rival platforms. Because at the end of the day, we said they would be foolish and it would be very short-minded to cut it from other systems because they would say huge revenue they're going to lose.
So this is bizarre. So after a 5-month investigation, the UK regulator has provisionally found that the deal could reduce competition and result in higher prices, fewer choices, or less innovation for UK gamers. Once again, this is the people who grew up with the ZX Spectrum, so come on. But it's also believed that Call of Duty and other franchises will be important to the growth of cloud streaming and that Microsoft could remove competition by making these games exclusive to its cloud offering. So the CMA suggested that a quote-unquote partial divestiture of Activision Blizzard would be a solution it would consider in order to approve the acquisition, which could mean either selling off part of the business that deals with Call of Duty, selling off the Activision segment of Activision Blizzard, or selling off both the Activision and the Blizzard segments. So I guess that means selling off Activision and Blizzard and just keeping Call of Duty at that point?
Yeah. That's kind of what they're getting at. Which one's
Or they just prohibit it altogether?
I still think they want to prohibit it altogether, but they're saying you have options here. Do this. Here's the deal, though. What's insane to me is maybe I don't understand this. Aren't Activision and Blizzard and all these companies U.S. based?
I forget. I think.
So
like I know Ubisoft's out of France. I know a shitload are from Japan.
Yeah, but like, unless they're from the UK, what are they doing trying to dictate the deals of a term like this?
Well, because I think like places all over the world are doing their.
It's global. They could try to boycott it, but like honestly, I don't know. Like maybe I'm thinking of this weird. It'd be like if the NFL tried to buy a team, and just because they're shown globally, that the UK tries to block the NFL from doing it. Like I don't get that because Microsoft is definitely US based, so it's like I don't know. Maybe Activision and Blizzard is UK based. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to talk to Drewski and have a lawyer tell us about it. I mean, the man made me suffer through Shadow the Hedgehog, but he could make up for it with some knowledge about what's going on.
It's a fascinating thing, and as I said, I don't like monopolies, but at the same time, guys, there are so many options in gaming. And yes, Call of Duty is the biggest. But, come on, man. That will not all of a sudden not allow gamers in the UK to get games. It just won't. So, I don't know. When I see shit like this, my mind goes tin hat, and I'm like, all right, there's clearly people on that board who are like have stocks in other shit or something. Like they're like Sony people, like they got lobbyists.
Bunch of Sony ponies.
I hate that term. But yeah, so I don't know. They have apparently responses by February 22nd, and then the final report is going to be due by April 26th. So I guess that's when this all wraps up. So we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. I still don't quite understand how they stop it. But yeah, Drewski, you comment or say something in Discord or on Twitter. Let us know what stupidness we're saying is wrong.
Yeah, because neither of us are laws, so we don't know.
Damn it! Don't say laws.
Right, we're not laws.
We're lawyers.
The Rizzes.
Jim, I mean, Drewski may be a good lawyer, but how much bird law does he know?
Ooh, it is true.
By the way, there is I gotta say, for a unique spin on a YouTube channel, and I probably came across it because I love the It's Always Sunny podcast. There's a lawyer who like covers like all the like different popular shows, and like like how there'll be like medical people who will be like, how real is this? But the lawyer covers, and he's covered It's Always Sunny, and he laughs his ass off. He's like, this is so ridiculous. He's like, yes, if you guys want to ask me about bird law, and he goes through it all, and he like talks about like, remember how Charlie's Uncle Jack, how creepy he is, and even another lawyer, and he like breaks it down. It's actually pretty funny. I'm like, okay, I like that. I like when expert.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
the man hit the right algorithm.
But Jim, speaking of algorithms and hitting it and things I don't care about all at the same time, Nintendo Direct happened on the 8th.
Yep. So with their new upload schedule, a little late to the party, but we can still give our thoughts on it. Always a hot topic.
So
right, that's code for easy content.
No, it is. And here's the deal. As soon as I saw it, I went, okay. Like, I would argue this was one of the more eventful Nintendo Directs in many years. Like, it had probably announcements that had bigger waves. And, the three biggest of it, obviously, are that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are coming to the Switch. Are they part of the expanded thing, or are they part of
well, we can go through it I have a picture here, so we can go through everything that they talked about. But yeah, original Game Boy comes with the base Switch Online, and then Game Boy Advance is part of the expansion, along with Genesis and N64.
So it's bundled into that same expansion price.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the biggest one, probably for most people, was the Metroid Prime remaster.
Yep.
So those were the biggest things. I guess, Jim, my question to you is, you and I have said many times, we were waiting even, like, when are you just going to start uploading your old handheld library to Switch? Because
I've been calling for it for fucking years.
Yeah, because one, you know you're never getting another handheld device from Nintendo unless they decide to, for some reason, forgo the Switch formula and also have a separate. Like, why would you ever
And why
do that?
would they ever do that at this point?
Yeah, because, like, that's the thing. And I'm sure the DS was great and 3DS, but it's like, if you just put all those old games on this system, dude, you'd make even more bank. And they're already making all the bank. So I think that's a really good addition. I still probably won't get the expansion. Do you have the expansion?
No.
No interest? Especially you being the Sega and the N64 guy.
Yeah, but I have most of the games on them, so I don't need to spend an extra $50 a year.
Since
to play
when the fuck does spending money on a game you already own ever stopped you?
Fair. Very fair point.
How many copies of River Raid do you have on systems you don't even own, you son of a bitch?
Right? That was part of a collection. It's interesting, and it is neat, and I like it. But, yeah, I mean, I like I said, these are all games I have already, and since it's online-based, I can only play them if I'm home, so if I'm just going to be home in my Wi-Fi, I would just pull them off the shelf anyway. Everything's hooked up. So it's a lot of stuff I barely play anyway, so why would I pay more for stuff I barely play?
Okay.
But
Now,
yeah, so let's go
The Game
through.
Boy Advance, does that tickle your balls at all?
It does. I already have a couple. They didn't have a ton of games that came out for it. I think there's like 5 or something like that. But like I don't even really like the Wario Land games that much. They're okay, but they always lose my interest in them. Mario Kart Super Circuit I already have. Minish Cap I have on my 3DS, and then there's some other stuff I forget. So
Okay. No, they'll expand upon it. Now, let me ask you one thing that I've never followed that closely. With all these, with Super Nintendo, Nintendo, and all this shit, they never get, like, once they put a title, they don't ever get rid of them, right?
As of now, they haven't done it. No, as far as I know.
Because that's the one thing that they could have a one-up on eventually if they just leave all games, like, that Xbox and PlayStation can't do, like, because eventually some of those games go away on their services, whereas if they keep all of them, that's huge.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, as of now, they've kept them all on there, and they put the remix versions of the classic games on there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very slowly starting to maybe be worth the price. I don't really think it's there yet for me, but, hey, if it's what you want, go for it. Shit.
Yeah. Well, what else did they show?
Yeah, so we already talked about Metroid Prime. Another trailer for Zelda. I mean, we haven't seen any actual gameplay yet, but another trailer for it. Pikmin 4, that came out of nowhere. I've never played a Pikmin game. I got to get around to playing one of them one of these days.
So I've tried to watch this, and so it's essentially, what would you even call it? It's like a puzzle game, kind of. Like
It's kind of a puzzle mixed with real-time strategy.
Yeah, it's an odd-looking game. Like, I get that the Lemmings feel from it a little bit. Having never played it, like, I don't know. Like, do people really like that game?
It's like, that's like the franchise Miyamoto that's like his baby. So it's always gonna be around, and like they kind of sell okay, but they've never been like the huge hit Nintendo wanted it to be. So it's still kind of like more niche than anything else, but it's like
that's what I figured.
It's niche, but it gets pushed. So
okay, yeah, no, that's what I feel like. I feel like it gets a push, but I don't know anyone who actually talks about it.
Yeah, another Splatoon expansion pass. I don't care about that. Professor Layton. I've never played them, but people seem to love those games.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a puzzle RPG-ish, like novel thing. I'm probably describing it terribly. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
Don't care.
I kind of like. I don't want to pay for even $40 for it, but it be like 10 years before it's cheap. So I'll get to that when the Switch 2's out, and then they start liquidating shit.
It's literally about a character that sucks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Kirby does not suck. You take that back.
No, that's literally his power. He sucks.
Clever girl.
So you're just playing a guy who sucks. That's all I'm saying.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Uh-huh. Disney Illusion Island. That I actually am interested in that. Like,
that looks like the art style looks like a cute platformer. If done well,
I think it's made by the people who worked on like Rayman Origins. It's definitely got that vibe about it.
Yeah,
Rayman Legends, and it's got if it has the humor, because it's taking the art style from like all those Mickey Mouse shorts from like 2012 on, and those are fucking hilarious. So if it keeps that humor in it as well, that could be a sleeper, man. That could be a good one.
It could be, yeah, for sure.
Advance Wars 1 and 2. I actually do want to. I would like to get that because I missed out on it back in the Game Boy Advance days. Strategy game, strategy combat. It's cool that we actually heard something from it because everyone thought that was dead in the water because it just kept getting delayed.
Yeah, that's another one. I think I remember talking about it before, but I don't know much about it.
We only talked about because it like got delayed because they blamed the war in Ukraine on it. And we're like, oh, that's a convenient excuse to delay a game that's not ready.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. Ooh, bad luck.
The Bayonetta prequel game, that's Cereza and the Lost Demon. That looks like a game that was made and they just slapped the Bayonetta license on it to try and get sales out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a couple expansions like Xenoblade and you already mentioned Splatoon. What about though? Well, let me ask you this. Take a step back. So, Legend of Zelda. I know you never finished Breath of the Wild. Do you think you're gonna dive into this one?
I'm not really like jonesing to get it right away, so I feel like I should beat Breath of the Wild before I get this one and finish it up. So yeah, it's not gonna be a day one purchase or anything like that.
Jim, I just think you and I are not Legend of Zelda guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're not. I mean, yeah. I've played some. I've liked the ones I've played, but I've never been hardcore into it. Octopath Traveler 2, I'll never play that.
So let me ask you this though. So that game we talked about before, obviously, really great looking game. It is a JRPG though, right?
Yeah, it's a JRPG, and basically, like the biggest complaint I hear about it is you're basically playing 8 separate stories that are all really long and barely interconnect. So you don't get that like sense of accomplishment from finishing it, basically. It's like, oh, this didn't really matter.
I do really like the way that style looks, though. There's something
I would get Triangle Strategy because another strategy RPG, but that's in that same like art style, but it's a strategy game, so I'd probably like it more than a straight up JRPG.
Okay.
What do you call it? That Master Detective Rain Code, like open world JRPG. I don't give a shit about that. Bite and Kados 1 and 2. Another JRPG. I know people loved it on the GameCube, but one I'll never touch.
Jim, you forgot Tron Identity.
Tron Identity kind of looks cool. I already forget what it was.
It looks so cool you forgot it.
I remember thinking, I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool, and then I don't remember anything about it.
AKA, okay, like Tron is another one. I feel like it's a franchise, like, I don't even say it has a niche. Like, I feel like, come on, man. Nobody cares about Tron.
Right. If I may quote The Simpsons. Did anyone here ever watch Tron? No. Yes. I mean, no.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
New Saba de Amigo game. I know that's a rhythm game people love, especially like the old school Dreamcast fans. So
you would.
I mean, it's probably not what I'm going to go for. That Ghost Trick Fam Detective. Another JRPG I'm not going to care about.
You forgetting Fashion Dreamer?
Obviously, day one purchase, Fashion Dreamer. That Etrian Odyssey. It's funny, like I saw that like someone like looked for it because it's only in collection form right now. It's $80 they want for it, and these are like old RPGs. So I was like, I'm not like I was going to do it anyway, but holy crap, that is some balls. Mario Kart 8 booster. I barely touch Mario Kart 8 at this point. Xenoblade Chronicles expansion. Obviously, don't care.
But Jim, in Mario Kart 8, now you can be Birdo because everyone loves Birdo because it's Birdo.
Don't be bashing on
Birdo's so fucking overrated.
Don't be bashing on Birdo.
You throw an egg at her and she spits at you. You get messed up by your own weapon. You're a weak character. She's as good as Boba Fett. All right. Everyone blew him up like he's a big deal, and he died the first scene he was in. So shut up.
I can agree with that. Fire Emblem Engage Season Pass, again, don't care. Fantasy Life. At least that was the only lifestyle simulator that they had this time, so it was only one. Katamari, I would be excited for it if the first reroll didn't get me motion sick as shit. So I'm like, oh, I won't waste my time with this.
Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, that looks cool. Dead Cells thrown in
That looks
Castlevania.
really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
That
I've
looks
never
awesome.
gotten around to Dead Cells either. I've always wanted to play it.
That alone is going to get me into that game, so I'm
Yeah.
fully down for that.
Yeah, Deca Police, don't care about that. Disney Dreamlight Valley, obviously day one. Omega Striker. Why would they have a direct thing for Omega Strikers that just look like such a cheap eShop party game?
Well, you know what's actually funny?
And it actually did kind of look fun.
God damn it, Jim. Well, what's going to be sad about the Disney game is I feel like my kids would actually probably like that, so that may be one I would actually get for them.
Yeah, I think my kid would like it too. So
You know how many times I've had to play through Pixar 3?
Jesus.
Because it's
Like,
on Xbox Game Pass, and it's like, actually, like, you know, with my son especially, like, he learns to play it, and it's like, it's so mind-numbingly easy that it's nice that I can turn my brain off, and he gets a kick out of it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, yeah, you don't go there for depth, obviously.
Yeah, Bri, we should count our lucky stars that we had kids after the miniature era of Spyro
Oh,
and
thank God, yeah.
Disney Infinity and all that crap. The amount of plastic we would have sitting
Oh
around.
my God, for sure, 1,000,000%.
But yeah, Tales of Symphonia remastered. People love the Tales games. You know, obviously I don't really care.
We don't.
Yeah, Mega Man Battle Network Collection. That's cool. I know that's a series people love and hasn't been touched in for like years. So, but that's
So
more of
wait.
an RPG spinoff.
And like we said, we covered the three biggest things from this. But did you ever play Metroid Prime?
Not a lot. Only a couple minutes. Actually, I played it like I would play it for like 10 minutes at a kiosk in Kmart back in the day. And then I do have the Metroid Prime trilogy on Wii, and I just never could get into it. I hated the control scheme. But I hear like, you know, the new remaster, the control scheme's like aping modern first-person shooter controls. So part of me is like, wow, I might actually enjoy it now that it doesn't like, you know, stop and shoot and scan everything. You can actually do stuff at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, like it looks. I've never played it. Similarly, like now that it's available for the Switch, I'd probably get it to give it
And
a
it's the
try.
right price. It's $40.
It's funny you mentioned price, Jim. So I would get this. I'll give Nintendo props. They do sometimes seem to try to price games appropriately. What are your thoughts on this whole new Zelda game being $70?
It's a lot of balls to charge modern gen prices for a game on a system that came out in 2017. Like, it's definitely them being like, you know, they're going to use the excuse of, oh, that's just the cost of things these days, when there's no need for it. It's an old engine they're using on an old console, but they know they're going to get away with it, and they are going to get away with it. And they're just going to make all the money.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
So, here's the deal. Playing devil's advocate, I've said many times, I wish game companies at this point just say a game is $80 and don't do the million DLCs, don't do game passes. But this is what makes me mad about the Zelda thing. You know there's still going to be DLC you have to pay for too.
Oh, yeah.
If it was 70 and you're not, at least you get DLC. Like, I don't care if you want to charge people. I'm at the point where it's like, whatever. I know you're going to end up charging for stupid shit like cosmetics or pets or stupid shit that doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, if you charge a higher price, and like you said, on a system this old, you know, it's Nintendo. They are going to push the limit on how much they can fuck over their fans. Like, is the next Mario game then going to be $80? And they're going to keep pushing that limit? Like, where is it going to stop? Where
I don't think they're going to go 80. I think they're just going to buck the trend of everyone else and be like, well, everyone else is doing 70, so we're going to do 70.
Is everyone else doing 70 though?
That seems to be the thing for most like big releases anymore.
Let me think. What's the last brand? I mean, really, Call of Duty, and like any Resident Evil, those are usually my go-to. Those were still 60. I mean,
God of War was 70. I think whatever the last couple big releases were, they were all like 70. So
I also
I think Hogwarts was 70, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong.
But here's the deal. I'm actually okay. I've said many times, it's amazing to me that the prices of games have never gone up. Like, or like, you know,
They've
when we
been
were
70
kids,
before, and then they went back down.
But that's what I mean. But since we were kids, basically, it's always been 50 to 60 to 70 in that range.
Since like the PS2 era, it's been that range. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, okay, like everything else, it should go up, and you weigh it out. Like Legend of Zelda, all these games, you're gonna get your money's worth. If you're a diehard fan for it, for people like me and you, we would never buy it even if it was just 50. It wouldn't matter. Like, we'd wait till it's 30 or 35, even though there's a very slim chance of that. But it's like,
Yeah, you just got to wait 10 years.
exactly. So I saw the people that nut hug Nintendo though want to defend it amaze me more than the people that bitch about it.
Yeah, I don't know how you really like. I mean, they're gonna nut hug and be like, "Well, that's just the cost these days." Well, it's like, yeah, for systems that came out 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and not 6 years ago.
Exactly.
They know exactly what they're doing. They're just milking because they can and they will, and they're gonna make all the money from it. So, whatever. But I mean, as I learned the hard way with Breath of the Wild, I mean, it wasn't enough to keep me interested to finish it. So why would I go out of my way to get it now?
And also, though, using Breath of the Wild as a track record, I mean, they released Breath of the Wild, and then what, 6 months to a year later, the Switch came out?
No, that was the same time.
It was the same. Oh, it was the same time.
Yeah.
But what is the chances? Have they ever leaked or hinted at a new system?
It's been rumored for the past 2 to 3 years, but so far nothing official at all has come from Nintendo. But given the way Nintendo's been operating the last couple years, I would fully expect a new Switch to just be dropped at the end of a Direct. They would just be like, oh, by the way, new Switch at the end of the year or whatever date they choose. So as far as I can tell, like, if I'm shocked they didn't wait for the new Zelda to do it. Maybe they're just trying to, maybe it's like one last push to try to get the Switch over the PS2's all-time sales so they can have that. They're still like 30 million units away. So that's the only thing I can think of for why they wouldn't wait for the new Zelda.
It's a bold strategy. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's one of those. I'd be fearful of getting that game with the potential. Maybe in a year you're going to see another console from them.
I could see that being like the deluxe game that like what they did with Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Where that, like, you know, they put that as a launch game on there just to fill up a spot because, you know, they're just boosting performance of an older game. And that would be like the Zelda for the first like 7 years of the console.
Exactly. And here's the deal. Because you know they won't make it backwards compatible. They'll be like the remastered version of Tears of the Pussy or whatever it's called. I don't know.
I don't know. I actually like Nintendo's never been too bad about backwards compatibility with a lot of the more recent stuff. So I can see them doing it.
Almost every single console has been a completely different type of format.
Well, the Wii was backwards with the GameCube. The 3DS was backwards with the DS.
How was the Wii back?
The
GameCube had the tiny CDs.
Yeah, but you could still put them into the original Wii. It was backwards compatible.
Could?
Yeah. It wasn't until like the very last model of the Wii that they took that out. But yeah, for the longest time, you could put a Wii or a GameCube disc in there. And it had the GameCube controller spots too.
I know that. I didn't realize you could make those. Okay. Then I'm wrong. But I guess isn't that really the only gen then? Because with the Wii U, well, I guess the Wii and the Wii U are basically the same thing, and Wii U, as we established, sucked. So,
Moving on.
Jim, we've established.
Not doing
right?
this argument again.
It's not an argument when you win.
You win shit.
I won. I won your
Suck
heart.
my cock.
Jim, I won your heart over.
You didn't win dick. All right?
But yeah, no. Like I said, you know what? I am legit. I say it every time, but I am happy for fans because, like you said, there is some weird crowd out there that loves Pikmin. The Metroid Prime, I know fans wanted a new game, but it's like, I guess you kind of got a bone thrown at you. I don't know if this remaster is a version like the RE1 remake, where you're getting anything new, or if it's just a shiny coat of paint.
It's a shiny coat of paint from what I've seen, but it's like they really redid all the graphics for the most part. So
That's good.
like,
And as long as they didn't
like
fuck up the
everyone's
music,
basically going. Sorry to cut you off, but everyone's
Yeah.
basically going. I don't know how this is running on the Wii or the Switch. What Wii? Yeah, they're going. I don't know how this is running on the Switch with how good it looks and performs.
which I'm fine. You know what? It's like, give that. Don't fuck up the music. I hope you throw in a few other features, like make it really worth people's money, make the controls really tight. Then I'm happy for people. Of course, at the end of the day, though, there's still going to be that itch now of like, okay, now can we get the new game?
Oh no! Now they're going to do it with 2 and 3. Milk that money, and
Yeah,
then
that's
maybe
true.
we'll see the new one. But maybe they'll save that as the big game for the new.
Maybe
Switch.
that's
Who
the
hell
launch
knows?
with the new system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like you said, I want to hear from you guys. Was there any games that it really blew you away? From being an outsider who's not that much into Nintendo, I said it does seem like this was one of the better ones. And
Yeah,
Nintendo
no.
Directs, let's be honest, aren't ever really that great, but this seemed to be a better one.
Yeah, Nintendo Directs always have like maybe 1 or 2 big things, but and that's for the good ones. But
Yeah.
no, I think this one was definitely one of the best ones in a long time.
Yeah. No, so I'm happy for everyone.
And
there.
actually, I'm glad that I watched it the next day so I could skip through all the JRPGs I didn't give a shit about.
Damn it, Jim. One of these days you're gonna get hooked on them, and then
I had a phase. I don't outwardly hate JRPGs, but right now I'm definitely not in the mind space where I would ever sit down with one.
I mean, you don't talk nicely about him, Jim. I would argue you don't like him at all.
Pretty teens with, problems. Wee. Same goddamn story every goddamn game for 30 years. But no, this one you hit A twice to attack.
Hey, Jim, it's no shuttlecock, is it?
What is, Brian? What is?
You motherfucker. I'm going to have to ask you more about that.
I haven't touched it yet, so let me get a little experience under my belt with it.
It's not the question of have you touched it. It's a question of why do you have it? And how much did you pay for it?
It was only like $6.
That's $6 too much, Jim.
Look, Brian, if I get as much enjoyment out of it as I did with Waifu Uncovered, $6 well spent.
Jim, keep it up. I'm telling you. I'm going to make... I might even have my wife sign up for our Patreon just to make you play Cockhead.
Just as punishment.
Just as punishment. You son of a bitch. So, though, Chambers, your Rush beer, other than your fandom, was it worth the price?
I mean,
$60 is tough to justify.
60 bucks is tough to justify. I will say it is for just a 5.5% golden ale. It's got a real full body and a lot of flavor to it. So at the very least, it's flavorful. Like I was kind of expecting, like, all right, this will probably just be like a bog standard, ale, but they put a lot of flavor into it. So at least there's that. But $60 is a lot. I guess that's like an import tax they threw on it or some shit.
And it's the novelty. It's, I'm sure anytime a band or gamer or actor or shit, like when they do these collabs, you're paying for that too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like I said, this Midnight IPA, the black IPAs, they're just a weird thing to drink, man. Like you're thinking you're about to have an IPA and you taste something, you're like, this is more like a black lager. It throws you off. It's not that it's bad, but when the aftertaste is more coffee and like a nutty malt, it's a weird thing. It's like an apple banana. Weird texture, weird flavor. You still never tried those, did you?
No, I did not.
Yeah, we still gotta get you to try those. But no, I would say get the variety pack because the other two IPAs I've had are really good. And if you're a gamer, I mean, it's a go-to. It's a really cool looking pack, so give that a try. But with that, we want to say thank you, everyone. If you're listening, if you're watching, please, first and foremost, as Jim mentioned, call in the voicemail line. We have the number below. We really want to hear from you guys. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a drunken rant, whether it's a question, whatever it is. Just call it in. We want to just be able to sit back, drink, and hear from you guys because you hear from us enough. So we really do appreciate it. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that. Hit the notification bell. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, hitting subscribe would be huge for us. And if you do the 5 stars, even if you want to bash us, we will read it on each and every one of these Power Hour podcasts. So with that, everyone, have a good night and cheers.
Cheers, everyone.